Hey guys, this is Vinay and you're watching my show, Let's Talk. The guest on my show tonight is very, very inspiring, very interesting. He's one of the most celebrated photographers in India. His work and his body of work is amazing to look at. He's somebody who transforms what you see in rare eyes into something beautiful on camera. He's an inventor and he's an entrepreneur and much more. He's none other than Sharad Haksar. Hi Sharad, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks.
Thank you for taking time.
Yeah.
Wanted to start off by asking you that wanted to be an architect and then you got into this because of the advice you got from a mentor.
Yeah.
So back then, what happened? What was going on in your mind?
I was really fascinated with design. My vision was to build cities because we've seen so much of chaos in our country. So I always wanted to be an architect where I would want to design cities. So that was my kind of goal in life at that point, and that's when I took up science to do architecture.
Yeah.
And that's when I met Iqbal Mohammed when I was in my 11th standard. So Iqbal was a photographer based out of Chennai. So he had gone and studied in the US, he studied in Brooks Institute, he did a 4-year course, came back, and that's when I saw his work, and his work was like out of the world. And that time there was no internet, and so you really didn't have, you didn't know what was happening in the US. And it was very, very creative. And then I always, photography was...
You had a flair for it already.
Yeah, it was always a hobby, but nothing serious. So I showed him some of my pictures, and then he said, no, why don't you get into photography? So, and he said, why don't you come and work with me? So I said, no, let me finish my college. So he said, no, I wasted 3 years. Then I did photography, so why don't you just come in straight? So that was a big decision. So after my 12th, I quit my studies and I...
Huge decision.
Yeah, it was.
But how did your family react to it?
They were kind of okay. I mean, they said if you want to do this, then just go ahead with it. So.
But did you back then know that this is going to lead you to where you are today?
Not really. I didn't have doubts. I mean, I loved photography.
Sure.
And when I saw what work he was doing, and that really was very inspiring, and nothing like doing something where you enjoy. So I just...
You were okay with it?
Yeah.
There was no plan B, you just focused on it?
Yeah, I just focused on it, yeah. So
was it tough in the initial days?
It was because I started off when I was 18. So I worked with him for 1.5 years, and then he went back to the US. And that was the time when, I was still, he had shifted to Bangalore by the time I finished my 12th. So I was in Bangalore. And so then I was working as a freelance, photographer for a magazine and stuff like that. And I was not too sure whether I should, continue with another photographer, assist another photographer, or, kind of start on my own. But I always wanted to come back to Chennai because my roots are from here. So that's when I came back to Chennai. So I started off when I was like 19 and a half.
The first company that you started off?
Yeah. So I started when I was 19 and a half. And so at 19 and a half, you don't get assignments, because they think you're just too young for the job. So, I used to wear formal clothes, wear glasses, wear a tie, so, try to look older. And that's how I slowly started getting work, and that's how it started off. Yeah.
And after that, after into this field, say 5-6 years, and when you had established yourself as a photographer, you were also making your roots as an advertising photographer.
Yeah, actually it came to a point where, the advertising work in Chennai was not, I was not getting, the assignments were not...
There was no fulfillment.
Yeah. So after a point, you've done it, and then you kind of get bored, and then it's the same thing, And that's when I was kind of getting very frustrated. And that's when a client said, hey, why don't you think of a concept itself and do the whole thing? So it just started off as a one-off project. I worked with, an art director, copywriter, as on a freelance basis, and we started working, and that's when the agency started. So it's about 14 years now since we've had the agency, and we've been...
You do end-to-end, huh?
Yeah, we do everything. Yeah, so we do branding, advertising, TV, radio, digital. So we do the whole thing.
One-stop shop.
Yeah. So we do the whole thing, and we've been the agency of the year thrice.
That's a huge accomplishment.
So that's how it started. So
now, in terms of your work versus the company that you've built and doing great stuff, as an agency, right? So after so many years, what do you kind of crave for now?
So actually, photography over the years have changed. The whole business has changed. So I think every business is changing.
Evolved completely.
Yeah, and so photography wasn't what it was 10, 15 years back, and now there are too many stock pictures and the clients don't have budgets. So it's a very quick thing of turnaround of saying, just let's buy stock and
just
use
buy,
it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Images, there are so many available.
Yeah, and it's very, very reasonable. So now the clients also don't want to spend too much, and everyone wants to use stock. So trying to do good work now is getting even more tougher. And so that's when I've started doing some travel work. So I went to Japan for the cherry blossom. So I was there for 15 days. So I shot entire
That must have been
series.
beautiful experience.
Yeah, it's an amazing experience. So I do about 3-4 months of research, where to shoot everything, and the whole thing is planned. And then I have a lot of shows. So I have a lot of shows in Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi. Even
exhibitions, that's what you put up, right? And you're more focused on landscape photography?
Yeah, I do a lot of landscape because I kind of love doing landscape. I love doing travel work, always, but it's just that commercial work never, and travel don't go too well together, yeah.
But then, is it important to actually focus on one kind of photography and excel in that versus doing like a fashion, food?
See, actually, it again depends on where you're located. Okay. So, if you're located in India, it's a little difficult to be specializing in one. Might be in Bombay and Delhi, you could specialize in fashion because there's enough work. But sitting in Chennai,
it's tough.
It's tough. So, either the decision was to shift to Bombay or Delhi, which I didn't really, I'm not too keen. Yeah. So I like Madras because it's kind of.
It's still Madras for you.
Yeah, it's still Madras for me. And I've been born and brought up here. So it again just depends on what you want to do. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's.
And any challenges that you would want to recollect in, a lot of people now have a Nikon or a Canon and they say they're photographers. A lot of people want to get into this field, maybe for the glitz and glamour. But what would you want to tell all the young photographers entering into this business?
See, I think today, if you look at it, there are very few photographers who are very successful.
Yeah.
Very, very few. And there are too many of them, too many photographers,
who wants to get into this field.
Yeah, there are just too many of them. And also, it's not that you just get a camera and you learn and you become a photographer. So I think as a photographer, either you have it or you don't have it. So it's like a painter, no? Either you have that skill.
It's a skill.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you can take classes and learn or whatever it is, but finally it's the eye and how you look at things.
True.
So I think that's what's lacking with most of the photographers, and then there's so many of them. So anyone with a camera, calls himself a photographer.
So and social media has made them so much.
Yeah. So I think also, so because of that, photographers are not able to charge enough. So it's become a very competitive line, and I can see most of them are struggling. So it's a tough.
It's a very tough one.
It's a very tough. I wouldn't advise anyone to get into photography now. Unless they're really, really very passionate about it. And I don't think there's anything glamorous about it. It's just work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the least of the...
In conversation with one of India's most celebrated advertising photographers, Sharad, we're going to be right back. Started this online portal where it gives an opportunity for photographers across the world to share their work, and that's something really, really interesting. Tell us what made you to actually do that. What's the idea behind that? Yeah,
so this started about 8-9 years back. I really didn't have a site where I could see only quality work.
Okay.
You had a lot of sites where you have good work and a lot of mediocre work. So I wanted to create a curated gallery where, you know, every image is kind of breathtaking and beautiful. So that's how One Island started off. So I just started.
It's called One Island.
Yeah. So basically, photographers shoot with one eye. So an island of photographers.
Lovely.
So so that's how that started off. So I started that from India. So being from India, you know, it's a little difficult for photographers, you know, to come in, and then the other thing is that we review the work. So about 75% of the work doesn't get uploaded onto the site.
So every picture that goes up there, it gets reviewed. Wow.
Yeah. So basically we have about 75% of rejections on the site. So only about 25%
goes up there.
Goes up. So you know, initially when we started it, we had a lot of photographers who said, how can you reject our work? And you know, we had a little bit of,
I'm sure.
yeah. But I think over a period of time, it's kind of become big, and so.
So what happens when pictures across gets published?
So what we do is we have photographers from all over the world uploading work. We review the work, and the good work gets onto the site. And then we have something like picture of the day, picture of the week, photographer of the week, photographer of the month. Then we also come out with an annual, which is called the best of the best photographers. So it's from these pre-selected, the top 8% get into another round of selection. So you know, you remove off quite a bit of the other work, and then we ask the photographers who are pre-selected to be whether they want to be part of the book.
Okay.
So then we come out with an annual. So this year is going to be our 6th annual, and so we don't sell the book. We just ship it to the top 500 agencies all over the world. So it's a way of promoting the photographers. Yeah. So we do that, and we also have photography awards. So we have as an annual award every year.
And in that portal, can people buy pictures?
Yes. So we have something called premium memberships, where a photographer can sell his work as stock. So I think
helps a lot of.
Yeah. So but what we do is we are the only site in the world where we don't charge commission on stock.
Lovely.
So because as a photographer, I've seen that, you know, the stock agencies charge 50% to 80%. So the photographer gets very, very less. So here what we do is that anyone who's interested would directly contact the photographer, and you know, so we don't get involved in the sale.
Whatever they want to.
Yeah. So whatever the pricing the photographer wants to sell it at, it's his call. So that's something which we also do.
And it's predominantly landscape photography.
No, it's any.
It's got
genre.
all categories.
Yeah, it's got advertising, fashion, anything. It's got everything. So you could shoot on your iPhone and upload it. As long as it's good, it gets selected. Yeah. So there are quite a few photographers who have shot on iPhones, and the images are.
Now with iPhone, everyone tries to be a photographer. And according to you, how much is taking a picture and how much is editing?
See, I think now it's about 50-50.
Okay.
I think 50% is how you shoot, and then 50%.
You can make it look better.
Yeah, but now I think the way it's going, I think it's like 25% photography and 75%. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, but it again depends. Like my landscape work, I don't do too much of.
The nature itself.
Yeah, nature's. Yeah, so if you get a great shot, then you really don't need to. You know, it's only that when you want to shoot something and you can't go to that location, then you know you try and see a cheaper alternative where you can try and do it on
create the
magic. Yeah.
Lovely. Sharad, this season on Chennai Edition, we are also trying and promoting health. We are trying and promoting awareness on cancer, because it's very alarming to know that more and more people are diagnosed with cancer in India due to a lot of factors like lifestyle and food we eat and stuff. So what would you want to say? Any experience of yours that you've seen people lose?
I've done a lot of work for the NGOs, and so in one of, I was working for CanStop, so which is an organization for cancer, and I had gone and visited some of these hospitals because I had to take pictures. So what we did was basically there was all these from villagers. They, you know, they smoke a lot and they chew a lot of tobacco. And most of them have these mouth cancers. And so what I did was I got an old Polaroid camera and black and white Polaroids to take images. And when I see the suffering which they go through, it's not just them, it's the entire family, because they're just not able to eat. I mean, it's really, really shocking, and it's so sad. So I somehow feel that if you can avoid it, if you can avoid smoking or chewing tobacco, you need to do it, because it's not just about you, it's about the people around you.
True, it's your loved ones too.
Yeah. So
and most importantly with cancer, if you can detect it early,
yeah,
you can actually save lives.
correct.
So regular tests is something that is extremely important.
Very important. Yeah.
Last segment on the show, quick one questions to get to know you better.
Yeah.
One advice from someone that's completely changed your life.
I think Iqbal, he was the one who said, no, architecture is not for you, get into photography.
That must have been really,
Yeah,
really
it was
tough,
a big
huh?
decision, and I really thank him for it even today, because I think he could see it that I had
Which you yourself didn't envisage.
Yeah. So I think that's something which
Lovely.
is,
One thing that you like to do apart from photography, what are the fun things that you like?
I love to travel, so
That's also part of your photography.
yeah, but I am trying to make it part of my photography. But I love to travel, go to new countries, visit new people.
Nice, new cultures, new food.
Yeah.
One destination that you love to go again and again.
Actually, there are two. One is Japan and one is Iceland. So these two are something which
Scenic beauty.
yeah, I can just keep going back again and again.
In India, any place that you...
I love the mountains, so I love Ladakh.
And you love food. So what one cuisine...
So I'm not really a foodie
okay.
person, but I love to experiment with different
cuisines.
yeah. But I love Japanese food.
Sushis.
Yeah, I just love it.
So one thing that gives you a kick or a high.
Getting up every day and getting a new idea, thinking of something creative, so that gives me a big high. Yeah.
One photographer in the world that you admire.
There's Howard Schatz, who's a US-based photographer.
Okay.
So he does a lot of fashion and nudes and underwater, and he's been in the business for about more than 25 years, but some amazing work.
One incident in your life that kind of changed you the way you look at life again.
I think during the recession, when the recession hit,
2007.
2008.
When Lehman collapsed.
Yeah. So I think about a year after, I think that had a big effect on the business, especially the advertising business.
True.
And so one day you had so many clients, and next day you see all your clients basically disappear and just
Maybe they don't have the money to spend.
yeah, and quite a few of them went bust. So
Oh, that's very scary.
yeah, it is very scary. So I think that's something. So I think in life nothing is taken for, nothing is constant. So I think you just have to keep working at it.
True.
And I think keep enjoying every day of your life. I think that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Are you a movie buff?
I am. I love movies.
Off late, a movie that you saw that you loved completely.
I watched Money Matters.
Okay.
I love the movie. That was really nice.
Indian movie that you saw off late?
I love Lunchbox.
Oh, you did?
Okay. I love Lunchbox. So I kind of like slightly the non-commercial
movies. So-called. Your favorite actor, actress?
I'm actually inspired by Clint Eastwood. So I just love him, because from an actor to a director, and at this age.
Yeah.
So that's something. So he's like I idol worship him, because it's amazing how he makes movies year after year and keeps getting nominated for Oscars, and they're all very low budget movies. It's
Not like,
so very few cast and simple but very powerful stories. So I kind of admire him a lot.
And if you want to give a message to the so-called angels of your life, who have come in your life and helped you in your journey, what would that be?
Thank you. No, but my wife has been a big supporter of my work. So so I met her during a shoot where she was a film executive in an ad agency, and that's how we met. So she does all my styling and coordination for my shoots. So she's been a huge pillar of support for me. So she's so they say every successful man there's a woman. So she's it.
Lovely, great talking. What next for your personally and professionally for your?
Next is I'm trying to do a trip to Croatia or China. So that's
on the cards.
On the cards, yeah. So that's something.
All best for that.
Thank you.
Make India proud.
Thank you.
You know, you've carved a niche in the photography business.
Thank you.
And I'm sure, I mean, I've seen a couple of your pictures and they're lovely. Thank you so much for taking time and coming and talking to us.
Thank you.
Your last thoughts on being the show?
No, it's great. It's great. We should have you more here in Chennai. Hopefully you shift to Chennai.
Hopefully, sometime, at least
soon. Great. Thanks.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Thank you. Before we let you go,
Yeah.
a small goodie from our gifting
Thank you.
partners. P&R.
Thank you so much.
Hope you like
Thanks.
it.
Hi, I'm Sharad Haksar, photographer. You're watching Let's Talk with Vinay. Subscribe to the feed. See you soon. Thanks. See, I think now it's about 50-50.
Okay.
I think 50% is how you shoot, and then 50%.
You can make it look better.
Yeah, but now I think the way it's going, I think it's like 25% photography and 75%. Yeah. So.